Hello everyone. Today we are going to talk about Krugman's center-periphery theory in New Economic Geography. The content of this lecture mainly focuses on the following three parts: industrial agglomeration and traditional theories, the content and application of the center-periphery theory. With the development of economic globalization, the distribution of similar or related industries shows a phenomenon of geographic concentration and gets increasingly interdependent. Industrial agglomeration has gradually become the dominant force driving regional economic development. In developed countries, the industrial agglomeration is very obvious, such as the Silicon Valley of the United States and the tool industry of Solingen in Germany. As a developing country, China has a long history of industrial agglomeration. The ceramic industry in Jingdezhen is a long-standing industrial cluster. So what might be the causes for the formation of industrial agglomeration? What prompted the agglomeration of similar industries within a country? The research on the causes of industrial agglomeration can be traced back to the traditional industries agglomeration theories, which includes Marshall's external economy theory, Alfred Weber's industrial location theory, Perot's growth pole theory, and Heckscher-Ohlin factor endowment theory. However, it's difficult to use these theories to explain some of the actual agglomeration phenomena. They fail to dig deep into the mechanism of industrial agglomeration or ignore certain realistic factors, which means there are a few deficiencies and flaws. However, in the explanation of modern industrial agglomeration theory, Krugman proposed the center-periphery theory, based on the traditional increasing returns theory and monopolistic competition model. Krugman's model assumes that a country has two regions, Region 1, urban, and Region 2, rural. Region 1 is a manufacture zone that produces only industrial products and does not produce agricultural products. Region 2 is an agricultural area. In the initial state, only agricultural products are produced, and the agricultural products are homogeneous. Production has constant returns to scale and is in perfect competition, which won't be included in the discussion for the time being. The manufactured products include many different products, and the production of each different product is an economy of scale, thereby forming a market structure of monopolistic competition. Products from both regions can be traded within and between regions, but the trade costs are different. The intra-regional and inter-regional trade of agricultural products are both cost-free, while the intra-regional trade of manufactured products has no cost. There is so-called iceberg transportation costs for inter-regional trade, which assumes that trade cost is represented by the loss of industrial products from the origin to the destination. To compensate for the trade cost, companies will charge their products on the market in the export area a higher price than in the original area. This theory not only answers the question of where the industry gathers, but more importantly, solves the theoretical mechanism of the formation of agglomeration. Krugman attributed the initial motivation of industrial agglomeration to a historical coincidence. Both the occurrence and the location of the agglomeration have historical dependence. In the model, Krugman believes that the geographic concentration of an industry is mainly driven by three effects. First, the market access effect. When a manufacturer moves from other regions to a region, the demand for local labor will increase. When labor is able to flow between regions, this will attract labor inflows and increase local demand. The increase in local demand will increase the profits of local manufacturers, which will further attract more manufacturers to enter, further generate demand correlation, and achieve economic agglomeration through a circular accumulation process. The second is the living cost effect. When a manufacturer moves from other regions to the local region, the number of local manufacturers goes up. And in an area where the number of manufacturers increases, consumers will purchase fewer goods from outside the region, thereby reducing the cost of trade, which means that the local cost of living declines, and the actual wage level will increase, resulting in attracting the flow of workers. The increase in labor supply will reduce the local nominal wage, which will make the average cost and marginal cost of production go down, and bring more profits to the local manufacturers. Again, further attracting more manufacturers to this region, and producing a continuous accumulation process of self-reinforcing. When demand correlation and cost correlation tend to push the agglomeration of economic activities into a region, the third effect, the market crowding out effect, tends to suppress agglomeration. The relocation of a manufacturer from other regions to the local area reduces the demand for local manufacturers and the marginal profit. This lowers the profits or generate losses of local manufacturers. The manufacturers reduce the nominal wages paid to workers in order to obtain normal profits. When other conditions remain unchanged, this makes the local attractive to workers, less than other regions, and labor flows outwards from the local area, creating a continuous reinforcing circular accumulation process to inhibit agglomeration. When the centripetal force generated by the demand correlation and cost correlation in the region is greater than the centrifugal force generated by the market crowding out effect, economic activities tend to agglomerate in the region, otherwise they tend to spread. Based on this, we can get the explanation of the center-periphery theory on industrial agglomeration. Industrial agglomeration is attributed to a historical coincidence caused by exogenous shocks. The initial advantages are amplified due to the accumulated cycle of path dependence and then lock-in, resulting in the birth of the industrial agglomeration in a region. In addition, Krugman also pointed out that the centripetal force and centrifugal force that lead to the formation of the center-periphery structure depend on the size of the model parameters. The model parameters include trade costs, the share of manufactured goods in expenditure, and the preference for diversification. The greater the share of manufactured goods in expenditure, the greater the scale of the local manufactured goods market, increased by a certain number of immigrants. That is, the greater the increase in demand and marginal income, the greater the increase in local manufacturers' profits. Hence, the greater the centripetal force to promote the industrial agglomeration. The stronger the preference for product diversification, the lower the elasticity of substitution of consumers' preferred varieties, and the more locally available products. The lower the price index, the greater the real wage level. The more labor flowing inwards, hence the greater the centripetal force to promote the industrial agglomeration. Among the three model parameters, the cost of trade affects both centripetal force and centrifugal force. First of all, as the trade costs decline, the saved trade costs that manufacturers can obtain by choosing a bigger market area as their production location are reduced. Demand associated with manufacturers' relocation from other regions to the local area weakens, followed by the centripetal force weakens. Secondly, when the cost of trade is so high that commodity trade cannot be realized between regions, the move-in of manufacturers will cause local consumers to save much of the trade cost when purchasing products of the manufacturer, which leads to a great living cost effect and an increased centripetal force. However, when the trade cost is extremely low, the local and other regions form an integrated market. At this point, manufacturers' location in different regions will all have the same impact on the intensity of local competition. The migration of manufacturers will not intensify local market competition, so there will be no impact on local manufacturers' income and nominal wage levels, hence no market crowding out effect, and the centrifugal force is small. So now we have gone through the theoretical part of the center-periphery model. But is this theory practical in reality? In fact, the evolution of the urban system is following the center-periphery model, resulting in the urban growth and the distance to the central city showing a change law of pattern. First, the closer it is to the central market, the closer it is to intermediate product providers and consumers, reducing the cost of buying intermediate products and shipping finished products to consumers. Secondly, the huge market size of the central market is also conducive to exerting the economies of scale at the manufacturer level and reduce the production cost of unit products. Therefore, the closer to the city, the greater the market potential. With the gradual increase of the distance to the center of agglomeration and transportation costs, those manufacturers far away from the center have greater room for development due to less fierce competition and the market potential of the surrounding areas. The development of cities on the periphery is accelerating, and the centrifugal force is in the dominant position. As the distance from the central city prolongs further, the peripheral cities not only lose the economic benefits brought by being close to the central city, but also lose their own local market. At this time, the city's growth will be stuck. That is, the urban growth shows, and a gradual evolution trend of decreasing first, then rising, and then decreasing again, with the distance from the central city. The empirical research results based on data from various countries confirmed the pattern of urban growth.